those of you who are very new to my channel, welcome. Hi, my name is Yudi. And for those of you who already know me and been following me for years, you know that I do a lot of things in my life, including having 2 YouTube channels, managing content for both the channel, having a full-time job as a manager for software development team, having a side hustle or also video production business where I take contract to make videos and filming for different organizations or for different businesses or for different people. And also, apart from my career side, I am a full-time husband and I am also a dog owner, which means I'm a dog dad. And I have this home, beautiful home, where I have to do a lot of things managing this home. Big question is, how do I manage my time? And I know a lot of you have asked me this same question. So in this video, we are going to talk about how I organize my life and how I manage my time. Let's get started. Before we get started, I want to clarify, I only have 24 hours just like you do. So there's no some magic I'm doing. There's no rocket science. All this to say is that if I can do it, so can you. One of my very good friend Jason told me that just track your time on Google Calendar, just block out the hours you are doing work. That way you will clearly see where you are actually spending time, and that's what actually I started doing. Okay, I'm gonna share my Google Calendar with you and how I block out my times. It's already blocked out pretty much, but I'm gonna show you what it looks like right now and how I plan my week. Today is Saturday, so I'm planning for my next week. And let me share my screen here. Here's a quick glimpse of my calendar. All of these are color coded, so they mean something to me. So you can come up with your own color scheme. Purple is for my beauty sleep. So I've scheduled all my sleep time. Then I have scheduled my personal time. Anything yellow is my personal time, family time. Blue is all my workouts, so that's what I've scheduled here. And then anything red is my YouTube stuff and video stuff, so you can see right there. All of green is my work, like my full-time job, so it's all scheduled. So what I do typically is when I see these white slots, that's when I'll start, filling it up. Even you can see below, I sleep at 9:30. Yes, I do sleep at 9:30. I'm an old guy, so I like to sleep at 9:30, wake up at around 4:30. And then right before sleep, I watch TV, spend time with Caitlin. So you can see there are like spots right here. That's where I'll start scheduling my video work, my YouTube podcast. I'll also schedule so those are the spaces where I schedule. So literally all of this will be filled up. I block out every single thing. And if there's something which are blank, I'll go back and fill it out later on. Like maybe I don't have any plans. So and I end up spending time on a social media or just watching movie or something, then I'll just end up going back and filling up so I can see on a glimpse like where exactly I'm spending time. And this is my number one tip for you. You should start tracking. This will give you clarity on where you are actually spending time. A lot of us don't realize it, how we are spending time right now. 4 hours just watching TV or being on social media or spending time on just scrolling the reels or whatever that may be in your case. You will find time and you will be able to start to prioritize those time. But there's a lot more to organizing my life. That's where I got introduced to Notion. For those of you who don't know anything about Notion, Notion is like a productivity tool. It's like an all-in-one tool. You can use it as a to-do list. You can use it as your project management tool. You can use it as a note-keeping tool. However you want to use it. There are multiple use cases to it, and I'll show you how I use it in my personal life. A few months back, I actually got introduced to one of my friends' awesome course called Mind Like Water. It's Saundarya. You might have seen her in my YouTube channel. Basically, she made this course where she talks about how to use Notion, but not just how to use Notion, but how to organize your life as well, how to be more productive, how to find time, how to put intention on things you're doing in your life. And I definitely learned a lot of new things from her course, and she's right now actually launching the second version of the same course, but she renamed it and it's called More Time Every Day. I will put the link in the description if you're interested. I definitely go check it out. And also if you want to take that course, you can use the code Yudi and you will get 20% off. Also, I want to make it clear that this video is not sponsored by her. She did not pay me to say this. So it's something I find value. So if you are interested in something like that, definitely go check it out. All right, here's two main things which I learned from that course and I'm implementing right now in my life. Number one is creating your second brain. We naturally have a habit of creating mental notes for everything we do in our day-to-day life. For example, if you want to buy a grocery, you will create a mental note in your head that these are the things you want to buy. For things you want to do in your day-to-day life, you will create a to-do list in your phone or something, or maybe create a mental note for that. You just finished reading a book and it's all mentally stored, but you might forget it after 2 months or 3 months or later on. The problem with this approach is that at some point you will get overwhelmed. Your brain will get overwhelmed. There's too much information in your brain, small minute details which you don't have to remember. So instead you create a second brain, which is basically a tool or a journal or something where you dump all these small details into that tool so you can go back and refer to it. And that is how I use Notion as my second brain, because there are a lot of ideas which pops up in my brain and a lot of things, to-do list and new conversation or podcast list and collaborations and all those things will happen, and I'll try to remember it, but then I couldn't keep up. So that's where I started using Notion and created my second brain. That was a great concept I learned and I started using it. If you're at all interested in my Notion workflow, please let me know. I'll make a separate video on that. I'll still show you some of my Notion in this video, but this is more on mental side, how I organize things in my life. Let me know if you are interested and I'll definitely make a separate video on that. One other thing which I really loved in Soundarya's course was that she had office hours concept where you can basically reach out to her, or she also had like multiple coaches and they would help you with the journey in your Notion and in the entire course of that 4 weeks. When I used to work on collaboration ideas or podcast ideas or video ideas, what I would do is I would just put the name of the video, right? Like I would say how I organize my life. This is a video idea I have and I'm gonna put it in my second brain. But the coach actually told me that instead of doing that, you know, when a new idea sparks or a to-do list is coming up or a project you want to work on, there's a lot more thoughts than just a title of that video. And that is actually right. When I'm actually was planning how I organize my video, I had multiple b-rolls I want to shoot, I had multiple, like a flow of the video I wanted to do. So there were a lot of thoughts in my head when I was actually thinking of that idea. And it took me 2 minutes to jot down all the thoughts and put it in the Notion. So now when I actually went back to the video, it actually reminded me like, oh, that's right, I thought of this idea, I thought of that, taking that b-roll, or I thought of taking a b-roll of me on social media and all of that. Let's say this one is a podcast idea. I talked to somebody on LinkedIn and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to get this person, Akshay, let's say it's a Akshay iOS, sorry, I'm trying to hold the camera and also write it, Amazon. Right, so we talked about this, he reached out to me, I had an idea. Initially I used to just do this, but now since I know there's a lot more I can do, I would be like, okay, let me just do bullet list, rejected, H1B story, and then lost job. These are just an example. So what now I'll do is, like when I'm actually filming or scheduling the podcast with Akshay, I'll come up with an outline, and I know when I go back to this idea, I know these were 3 main things which we wanted to talk about, or these were like highlight of the story. So I want to highlight this, form my questions around these topics. So that way I remember this. Creating a second brain is so important because now your brain is freed up and have all this data in your second brain, like a tool where you can refer back and you can see like, oh, my to-do list is here, or my next project I'm supposed to work on this, or my next book I'm supposed to read is on that, or maybe the books you read, and like a lot of time you read some books, right, and you forget what are some of the highlights or key points. Maybe after you finish reading, you can jot down all these points on your Notion and you want to go back and it's like, here are 5 most important things you learned from that book, or etc. Second thing which I learned from the course, and it's one of my favorite thing actually I learned from the course, is that how you can see your life into different gardens. And those gardens will have different trees, and different trees will have branches, and branches will have leaves. Let me explain. Basically, if you have to summarize your whole life into 3, 4, 5, whatever areas, those areas will become the garden of your life. For example, you might have a career garden, you might have a relationships, family and friends garden, you might have your personal growth garden. Okay, so now let's deep dive into my trees. One of my tree is YouTube. YouTube definitely has multiple branches. In my case, my branches are, and these are like my big goals. In 2022, I want to hit 250,000 subscribers. I want to have at least 12 brand partnerships. Those are my branches. Now, each branch will have leaves, which are basically tasks in this case. Creating video is a leaf for me. It's basically a task for me. And now imagine that you have multiple leaves from each section of your life, each branches, each trees. There are multiple leaves. All you have to do is organize your leaves and put it in the calendar each day so that you know that you are working on this aspect of your life today. You're working on this branch today. Whatever that is, that gives you a very good picture when you have all of this organized in a system. So there you have it. There are 3 main things which I do to organize my life. Number 1 is create a second brain. Create some system where you can dump small things, small details into your second brain. Number 2 is organize your second brain in a way which helps you visualize everything and you can follow along. Number 3 is clarity on your time, blocking out your time, tracking your time, because that is very, very important. And in fact, I would say blocking your time and tracking your time is probably number 1 thing you should start with. It's very easy. It's very doable. Start with that. Then you will have a clarity and then you can follow along on the second and third step. That is it for this video. I hope you did find some value in this video. If you did, please consider subscribing and comment your thoughts and let me know what you think about this genre. I definitely want to make a lot more video and content on this genre because this is my second favorite. First is personal finance. So let me know what you think and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Until then, keep smiling and keep hustling. You gotta hustle every single day.